Hello everyone and welcome back. So today we are going to be building Sortner URL. This is the final project and I'm going to showing you how this is work. So here I have a long URL, and if I copy that and I paste that in here, and if I click sorting, we get the loading and then we get the result here. Okay, we can copy by click the button here, copy to clipboard, and if I paste that in here, as you can see, we get the sorted URL here. If I hit enter, we load up this URL. Okay, really nice. And the technology what we are going to use is React, and then the API we are going to use the sort code here, and also for the background animation, this animation here, we are going to use this demo 2, I believe. Yeah, this one here. You can just copy the code. I'm going to showing you how to do that. And for the font family, we're going to use Playfair Display, which is right here. And as you can see here, the title. And also the copy to clipboard functionality, we're going to use the React copy to clipboard, as you can see here. Yeah, that's what we are going to be building, guys. So really simple basically. And yeah, let's get started. Alright, so in here I have already generated React app, and in app here, in app component, we just have hello world. And if I see in the browser, we should see the hello world. Okay, nice. So now we need to create another file inside the source, which is input sortner. Let's say input sortner.js file. Okay, so in here, let's say rfce, and if I save, let's remove the React up here. So let's render the input sortner inside the app. Okay, so I want to change the class name to container basically. So now save, and let's take a look in the browser. We should see this import sortner. Really small. Let's make it bigger. As you can see here, input sortner. Cool. So now let's go to input sortner component, and I'm gonna remove this text, and let's add the class name set it equals to, let's say input container, and inside this input container I have h1, and this h1 basically have text URL, and inside the h1 I'm gonna add span, and let's say sortner. Save. Let's see in the browser, we should see this URL sortner. Cool. So now down here, I'm going to add a div, and inside this div, I have input field, and let's add the placeholder into, let's say, paste a link to sorting it. Okay. Now save. We should see the input field, and down here, I'm going to add the button, and the button have a text called sorting. Okay, so now we need to styling that just a little bit, and I'm going to go to the app.css here. First, I'm going to grab the container class. So here, I'm going to grab the container, and let's make the height into 80, let's say 80 view height, and I'm going to make it the content into center. So I'm going to use display flex direction to column, line item center, and justify content to center as well. So now if I save, and here we go. So next, let's styling this title and this input field. But before that, I just want to copy this font family from Google Font. I'm going to copy and paste that into index.css. Paste that in here. I also want to create the variable. So I want to say dash primary dash color. So the color I'm going to use is F99F38. Save, and let's close, and I'm going to grab the input container h1, and I'm going to change the font family to this one here. Let's copy and paste that in here. So now the font is going to be changed. Okay, pretty nice. Let's make it small. So let's change the font size to 3.5 rem, and also I'm going to change this span color. So let's do here, I'm going to grab the input container h1 span, because span inside the h1, and in here I'm going to say color to, let's say, dash primary color. Okay, we grab the primary color variable, and now we get this color. Nice. So next, let's styling this input field. So let's grab here, let's grab the input container input, and in here I'm going to set the width to 100%, padding, let's say top to 0.5 rem, and the right, let's say 0.2 rem, the bottom 0.5 rem, and the left, let's say 0. So I want to add the text indent to 1 rem. Text indent basically is space here. You will see this space here. Okay, so now we need to remove the border none, the outline none, and also the font size. I want to set it to 1 rem, and also the border top left radius, I want to set it to 3 pixel, and also the border bottom left radius, so let's say bottom. Okay, so save, and now we should see nothing. Alright, so let's try to change the background to something like red or something. So now, as you can see, you see this border right in the top left radius and the bottom left radius. Cool. So next, let's implement the display flex in div. Let's do here. I'm gonna say input container div. Okay, and in here I'm gonna say display flex, and I'm gonna add the margin bottom to 2 rem. Okay, so now save, and let's take a look. Pretty nice. So next I'm going to styling this placeholder. We can grab the placeholder like so. We can say input container input, and we grab the placeholder like that. In here I just want to change the font size to 0.9 rem. Alright, cool. Now let's styling this button. Let's do here, let's say input container, let's say button, let's say the padding top and bottom to, let's say 0, and left and right 1 rem. Okay, and I'm going to set the height to 3 rem and the font size to 0.8 rem, and I'm going to change the text transform to uppercase, font weight to bold, and I'm going to set the border top right radius. I'm gonna set it to 3 pixel, and also the border bottom right radius, I'm gonna set it to 3 pixel as well. And also let's change the color to white, and I'm going to change the background color to, let's say, far dash primary color. And also I'm gonna remove the border to none, and also the cursor, let's say pointer. Okay, so now save, and let's take a look here. Pretty nice. Okay, pretty nice. We're going to remove this background red here, and nice. We cannot see this border because we don't implement the background animation, this animation here. So now let's working with the background animation, guys. So in here in source, I'm going to add the file. Let's say background animate.js file, and in here I'm going to generate the functional path component RFCE, and it's going to be capital B here, background animate. Cool. Let's remove the React, and here I'm going to render the background animate like so. Okay, it's going to be uppercase. So if I save, as you can see, we get a background animate. So now let's go to the animate CSS background here, the wweb.dev, and as you can see, this demo2, basically you can change the count, whatever the count you want, and also the size, you can change that, of course, and the speed, you can change that as well. Now here you can just copy the code, the HTML and the CSS. So let's copy this HTML. I want to copy, paste in here. Okay, so let's make it cool like so. Let's close this terminal, and I'm gonna change this class to class name. All right, wait, like so. So now let's copy the CSS. This thing here we can just copy and go to app.css here, and I'm going to make a comment here. Let's say background animate. Okay, let's paste that in here. Cool. So now save, and let's see. As you can see, this is what we have. We get the animation down here, pretty nice. But where the input shortener? So basically what we can do is let's go to the this background here, we can add the Z index into -1. And if I save, magic happen. Boom, pretty nice. And as you can see, we need to change this to white basically. So let's scroll up. Let's change the color to white, and also I'm gonna add the margin bottom to, let's say bottom to 1.5 rem. Okay, so now save and let's take a look. Pretty nice. And I'm going to make it 100%. Pretty cool, right? So now we need to just working with the result component. So let's go here. I'm going to add another component, let's say link result. Okay, .js file. In here, let's say rrfce and hit enter. I'm going to remove the React app here, and let's import down here. Let's say link result. Okay, so now save, and we should see this link result. Nice. So let's go to link result component here. I'm going to add state. So let's say const, let's say shorten link. Okay, and also the function which is set shorten link. Okay, so set it equals to use state. By default, I'm gonna set it to empty string. Okay, so inside in here, what I'm gonna do, paragraph text and just render the shorten link. Okay, for now let's say hello world, for example. And let's add the class name here, so that goes to, let's say, result. And down here we have the button. Okay, the button is going to be, let's say copy to clipboard. Now save. Let's take a look. We have this button here, pretty nice. So now we are going to styling this. Okay, so let's go to app.css here, and here I'm going to make a comment. So let's say result. Okay, so it is styled for the result. So let's grab the result class, and I'm going to set the display to flex. The, let's say, align item set to center, and also the justify content I'm gonna set to space between. Alright, so here I'm going to add the padding to, let's say, 0.5 rem for the top and bottom, and 1 rem left and right. Okay, so now let's styling the paragraph, result paragraph, and in here I'm going to change the color to white. Okay, so let's say white, and also the border, I'm going to give a border, by the way. So let's say border 1 pixel solid, and the color is going to be the primary color, which is the variable. Let's say for primary color. Cool. So here I'm going to add the padding to 0.5 rem and 1 rem. Okay, and also the margin right, I'm gonna set that to 1 rem. So let's save and let's take a look. Here we go. Nice. And now let's styling this button. So let's go back here. I'm gonna grab the button. So let's say result button. Okay, so in here I'm going to add the padding 0.5 rem for the top and bottom, and 1 rem for the left and right. And also I'm going to change the color to white. Let's say white. And also I'm going to change the cursor to pointer, and also the background, let's say for primary color. And also I'm going to remove the border to none. Okay, so now save and let's take a look. Really nice. So as you can see here, it is not working. The button copy to clipboard is not working because we don't implement the functionality, right? So now to implement that, we can just simply use React copy to clipboard package. Pretty nice. So now we can just copy the this npm install here, and I'm going to open my terminal, open another terminal here. Let's yarn add, I'm gonna paste that in here. I'm gonna use yarn, by the way, so I can just remove the npm install here. Let's do here and hit enter. Alright, so now it's done. I'm gonna close this and close the terminal, and now I'm going to go to the link result. So in button here, how we can do is pretty simple. As you can see in here, we need to just import the copy to clipboard function from the React copy to clipboard. So here I'm going to say, let's say copy to clipboard. Okay, it's gonna become from something wrong. It's going to become from this. Okay, React copy to clipboard. So inside this React to clipboard, not React copy to clipboard, we need to put the button, whatever basically tag you want. You can use p, span, or anything you want here. Okay, so in here we can say text. Text is basically the text that we need to copy when we click the button. Okay, so now we need to, the text is going to be the shortened link. Okay, now let's bring in here like so, and this copy to clipboard have another function as well as a property. So we need to say here, let's say on copy. Okay, the function name is going to be on copy, and in here I'm going to set the copy to true. Okay, this is basically a state. Let's do here cons copy and set copy, so that goes to use state. By default is going to be false. Okay, and also in button here I'm going to add the class name, which is the I'm going to add the class name depend on the copy true or false. Okay, so in here I'm going to say copy is that true. I want to add an else, just do nothing here. Okay, so now let's go to app.css here. If the button have a class called copy, we need to change the background to white. Okay, and also the color, I'm going to change that to the primary color. So now if I click this, as you can see, it's white now. And if I paste that in here, as you can see, we get the hello world. Nice. So next is what I'm going to do is I need to, when I click the copy to clipboard here, I need to, when maybe 1 second, it's going to be back to the normal button, which is have a background color coral here. Okay, so now let's implement into link result. I'm going to close the app.css here. So here I'm going to say use effect. Okay, use effect come from React, and in here, so let's run this use effect every time the copied variable change. Okay, and inside in here I'm going to add the variable called, let's say timer, set that equals to set timeout, and this is going to be arrow function, and I'm going to run the set timeout maybe 1000 millisecond, which is 1 second. And inside in here, what I'm going to do, let's say set copied back to false. Okay, that's all what we need. And down here we need to just return, let's say return arrow function. We need to clear the timeout and paste the timer here. Okay, and as you can see guys, if I click the copy to clipboard, after 1 second the color is going to be changed to the coral here. Pretty nice. If I paste that in here, you'll get hello world. Okay, cool. So now let's just close everything, make it simple. What we need to do now is basically when user typing something in input here and click the button here, I need to, the value is going to be get in this link result. So we need to create state in here, because we need to the state will be updated inside the input shorten, and we send the value into this link result. Okay, so now let's do cons. I want to say input value and set input value, set that equals to use state. By default it's going to be empty string. Okay, and in input shortener we need to send the set input value, so that equals to set input value. And in link result we need to send the input value, so that equals to input value, like so. So now let's go to link result and we need to grab the input value. Let's say input value, and I'm going to basically console.log the input value here. So now in input shortener we need to grab the set input value, right? So in here, let's say cons value and set value, set that equals to use state. By default, let's say empty string. Okay, and in input tag here, let's make it make it like so. All right, okay, cool. So in here, I'm going to put the value. The value is going to be value, okay, come from the state. And in here, we need to say on chain set that equals to, and let's put arrow function, and I'm going to set the value into e.target.value. Okay, so now every time user typing inside the input field, the value here is going to be updated, right? And now in button here, I'm going to add on click event. Okay, on click is basically I'm going to create a handle click. Okay, when user click the button, the handle click function is fire. Now let's create the handle click function here. Okay, this is going to be arrow function, and in here I'm going to set the input value into value. Okay, because we know the value here will be updated, right? And also I'm going to set the value back to empty string. Okay, nice. So now let's save. Let's take a look, guys. One shot. It is not defined. That's because here we need to put the event. Okay, so now save, and I'm going to inspect. Let's see in the console, make it bigger, because as you can see in the link result, we console log the input value. So let's try. I want to say hello world. If I click shorten, as you can see, we get the hello world inside the link result. Pretty nice. So what we need to do next is basically we need to make a GET request in this URL, in this developer API, and then this URL here. Okay, you can just copy that. And also I'm going to use Axios basically. So here I'm going to add Axios. Okay, hit enter. All right, done. Pretty fast. Cool. So in here I'm going to create function called, let's say, fetch data, set that equals to async function. Okay, and in here I'm going to say try and catch. We grab the error and we do something in there. In here we get the finally. All right, so now in try here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a state called, let's say, loading. Okay, and set loading, set that equals to use state. By default it's going to be false, and in try here I'm going to set the loading to true. Okay, and here I'm going to create variable called res, which is response, and I'm going to say Axios. Just make sure you import up here. Okay, cool. Axios, paste star in here, and wait, and also we need to remove this example here, change that to input value. Okay, input value. Cool. So down here we need to set the shorten link, say link to response.data. Okay, and now let's remove that. Let's say log the shorten link. Okay, now I'm going to just copy this comment, I mean this one here. I don't want to see any error in the console. So now let's try. Oh, we don't run this function. We need to run the function inside the useFAQ basically. So we need to create another useFAQ, and this useFAQ basically will be running every time the input value change, like so. So in here we need to first check, all right, we need to check if the input value have a value, which is input value dot length, like so. We need to run the fetch data. Okay, nice. So now let's try, guys. Let's go to React app here. I'm gonna refresh, and let's just copy this link. I'm going to put in here, and I'm going to click shorten. We get undefined here. Let's try to basically console log down here maybe, right? let's do here. I'm gonna console log down here and just remove this input log here. Input log, input value, console log input value. So now let's try that again. I'm gonna refresh, copy this long URL, paste that in here, and shorten. We still get undefined. Let's go to the network and let's see, shorten here. As you can see, we got the result here. So I think we get something wrong here. Response.data. Oh yeah, because we don't add await keyword here. Let's say await like that. Now save and let's take a look, guys, in the console. And as you can see, we get a response OK and the result here. So basically, we need to use this full short link. So let's go back here and I'm gonna grab the data.result.full short link. So now we know that this shortened link have this value. All right. So down here, what we need to do is I want to render all this div if the shortened link have a value. So I can do React fragment, and inside in here I'm gonna say shortened link and render this div. So I'm gonna copy, cut that out and put up here. Okay, like so. I'm gonna remove this console, and in here what I'm gonna do is basically let's create another state. Let's say error, and in here I want to say set error. Okay, and in here let's set the error into error, and finally we need to set the loading back to false. All right, nice. So in here we need to check if the loading is true. We need to return a p tag here. I'm gonna say loading. Okay, and let's add a class name set that equals to, let's say, node data. Okay, I'm gonna copy this if loading, and down here it's basically the if error. Let's change this text here into something went wrong. Okay, not smile. So now save and let's go back to app.css here. I'm gonna grab the node data class, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the color to white, and also I'm gonna change the font size to 1 rem. Okay, so now save and let's refresh. I'm going to copy this long URL, put it here, and click shorten. We get loading, and then we get the result. Finally, guys, if I click copy to clipboard, I paste that in here, I hit enter. As you can see, we load up this URL. I'm gonna copy this Google Font URL. Let's put that here and click shorten. We get loading, and then we get this data here. I can copy to clipboard and paste that in here, and if I hit enter, we should render, as you can see, the font.google. Pretty nice, pretty cool. I think we're done with this project, guys. As you can see, pretty nice. If I refresh, of course the result will be gone. Pretty nice. And that's gonna be it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye.